Anyone need a white balance? Everyone good?
You guys just move, mind if I just move?
Sure.
Coach Gold will open with his normal opening statement, and then afterwards I'll be moderating questions. After his opening statement, please raise your hand and I will call on everyone in order.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I just went to the EJ room by mistake, and I thought I got away with one. There was nobody over there. But again, thank you for coming. Thank you for covering the Canes. As I said yesterday in my statement, it's humbling, and it's flattering. And it's a testament to our staff and student athletes that other people express interest, in us. And but as I said yesterday, I'm excited about where we're going here at the University of Miami, and excited about our student athletes coming back next week. We got some mid-year enrollees coming in this week. Excited to get back on the road, and just really ready to move forward. So it's one of those things where I really don't talk about other programs or other universities. I think it's really just important that we talk about the University of Miami and the direction that we're going. So if you have any questions, I'll Tim.
When you say it's humbling and flattering that other people express interest, how difficult were these 2 or 3 days for you? And is that your way of acknowledging that Penn State did in fact express interest?
Well, obviously, there are some universities that have expressed interest the last couple of years, and I've never addressed them, Tim, any of them. And I'm not going to start to do that now. I'm not a candidate for any other job, and I plan to be at the University of Miami.
Next question. Back row.
Coach Gary Nelson with CBS 4 News, completely out of my realm here, but I'm just trying to nail this thing down. Did somebody get it wrong, or were you in fact offered and declined the Penn State job?
Yeah, again, I stand on my statement from yesterday that I'm here. I plan to be the coach at the University of Miami. I never speculate on any other programs, and we're ready to move forward.
Next question. Anyone?
Yeah.
Andy?
Yeah.
Al, specifically, I guess talking about the team and the defense, you look at this unit and what they accomplished here. Do you think at all philosophy needs to change from the defensive side of the football, or would just improved personnel help things from that side?
Well, again, whenever we talk personnel, Manny, you can, A, it can be construed as an excuse, and B, it can be construed, not construed, it could be a situation where you're disparaging anybody that's here in our program. The guys that were here in this program delivered us, through a very dark time, and we're so grateful to them, and we've made progress with them. Understand, number one, I'm responsible for everything in the program. That's including the defense. The second thing, Manny, is I'm responsible for personnel. The third thing is, in terms of schemes and direction that we want to go, again, we're not where we want to be, but we had an opportunity to win 9 games. I would love to have an opportunity to win 10 and keep moving forward. That did not happen. But if you look at some of the things that I talked about this morning, Manny, that I've been looking at, just the progress that we made, whether it's the sacks, the fumble caused or recovered, interceptions, all of those things. This has been probably in my 3 years. This is the most, I don't want to say explosive, but we made explosive plays on defense. We scored 5 touchdowns on defense. We blocked 4 kicks for the first time, and just things of that nature. So those to me are all positive trends. The other thing, Manny, is we went from like 31 penalties on defense a year ago to I think 10 or 12, if I'm not mistaken. So to 10, from 31 penalties playing all those young guys a year ago. So although we're not where we want to be, there's so many little things that I look at as a head coach that say, okay, the answer right now is not change. The answer is continuity. The answer is continued progress with our young people, continued development. And I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't excited about the talent that we have coming back on defense. I am. I'm excited. We had a lot of playmakers that are coming back, number one. And number two, we're adding 13 to 16 more recruits to that. So I'm excited about that. And again, it's my decision. And my decision was that starting over for these young people is not the answer. Continuity, continued progress, continue with the same position coaches and techniques and scheme was the better answer for me. And I made that decision after careful evaluation.
Next question, Susan.
Al, do you intend to make any changes among the assistant coaching staff, and if so, have they been notified?
I do not. And again, I evaluated all that on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and finished my evaluation last night. So again, we obviously had 3 position changes last year on offense. I'm happy with all those guys. I really am. And as I said, we've made a lot of progress in a lot of different areas. But we have a long way to go. And I never fail to recognize that. I understand that we have a long way to go, and we're going to keep fighting, keep working. And man, getting back to yours, because I want to make sure I'm clear.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that we're not going to tweak our personnel or our usage of personnel and how we devise things, or the quality control that you go through and deciding what's best. Because a team is reborn every year. What was good for this past team may not be what's best for this team coming up. Whether it's a different quarterback, a different running game. On defense, we may have more. Especially with the kids coming in, we may have more defensive backs than we've had in a while. We might be able to play more nickel, for instance. So those types of things are all the things that go into consideration when you're making that decision.
Next question.
Susan, did I answer your question? I just want to make sure.
Definitely, yeah.
Barry's next in that.
Al, would you say going into the spring that Ryan Williams is your starting quarterback, or would you say it's an open competition among him, Kevin, et cetera? And also, if you could talk a little bit more about the need to achieve more balance offensively, something you touched on this morning.
Yeah. First of all, I think Ryan has done a really good job. But you're not anointed the starting quarterback anywhere. You know what I mean? But Ryan did a really good job. And Ryan did a great job distinguishing himself as the number 2 in training camp. Now, of course, Kevin and Gray and the young people that we have coming in, who I can't talk about, are going to have an opportunity to compete. But I think in terms of Ryan's growth, his development, his maturity, his football intelligence, I think that relationship with Steven and the progress that he made, obviously he's someone that we're excited about, and I think I shared it with you along the road here this year. As it relates to our offense, Barry, we want to be more balanced, and we have explosive playmakers, but we need to control the ball a little bit better. And one of the ways that we can control the ball better is doing a better job on third down, and that also includes first down efficiency. How can we get to more third and manageables? Okay, and then really our completion percentage. For how we conduct the offense, our completion percentage needs to be closer to 68, 67%, than what it was this year. It needs to be higher. And again, that's going to allow us to get more first downs, control the ball. We could have, obviously helped out the defense a lot more by controlling the ball and also by converting on third down. The third downs were not good enough. So that would be my general assessment there. We were a lot better running the ball, explosive runs over 10 yards. We were a lot better at our explosive pass plays, over 20 and 30 yards. So I don't think there's any question that we have an explosive element, and very excited to say that element's coming back. Duke, Dallas, Gus, Bo and Clyde at tight end, Herb, Stacy, Rayshawn Scott, Philip Dorsett. There should be a good group of guys there moving forward that can give us an explosive element to the offense too.
Matt Porter, next question.
Obviously, your world and our world are different. We're hyper aware of this kind of stuff, but reports really came out on Friday. ESPN reported it, all 3 newspapers down here,
Yeah.
according in addition to various websites. Why wait until 4 p.m. Sunday to release a statement that says, hey, I'm not going anywhere?
Yeah, number one, I can tell you, Matt, that the only reason I released the statement is because I was communicated to by Blake and Chris and everybody, just, you know, how, I guess, widespread the speculation was. And I really thought I was going to have an opportunity to talk here on Monday. So, again, what's, you know, in terms of that. So, but again, I released it yesterday, and you know, like I said, we're moving forward now.
Tim, do you have a follow-up?
You've said a number of times, well, you really from the beginning, when you weren't aware of the tsunami that was coming in August 2011.
Yep.
You acknowledge again today that schools, and look, you're a coaching demand. Everybody in this room knows that. Why still be here after what you went through? I mean, if you weren't given the full story when you came, where has your loyalty come from and your reasons in deciding to stay going into the fourth year?
Well, I mean, we've made a lot of progress now, and this will be our first year to be able to go out and recruit, you know, without any NCAA cloud hanging over. And Tim, and I guess, you know, there's a big part of me that wants that I haven't experienced that. And none of us have experienced that. We haven't really experienced a season or a training camp without that hanging over our heads. So, you know, from that standpoint, you know, we just we want to move forward, and we have great kids in this program. You know, we have a lot of young men that do things the right way. You know, knock on wood, we've made good decisions off the field, and we're getting better on the field. And you know, all those trends, all those things that I look at, you know, when I make the decisions that I have to make after the season, and we have a lot of experience coming back. You know, probably more experience than we've ever had. We're a much more mature group. We're better in the weight room. And again, so those are all the factors that go into those types of decisions.
And to follow on the defensive numbers questions at the beginning, the last 2 months of the year, starting with Florida State, you guys were third from last in rushing yards allowed, third from last in third down conversions, and I want to say like 101st or something like that in scoring. Fatigue, breakdowns, injuries, when the numbers shift that quickly, I understand there wasn't, Savannah State FAU can skew things a little bit, but that second half collapse, where did that come from, do you think?
Well, again, if I say yes to what you just said, then, you know, it's an excuse. The reality of it is that, Tim, we weren't good enough. We didn't get it done, and it's my responsibility for us to be better at that time of the year. But you know, again, we got to continue to build our depth. And that's going to be critical. And everybody goes through a lot of injuries, and injuries, you know, are part of the factor. If you look at that time of the year, the guys that we lost, it was difficult. But again, it's no excuse. I'm just making sure you understand that all that goes into play, including us, you know, coaching better, playing better, and continuing to have our focus.
Gary, do you have a question?
Yeah. I know you can't really talk a lot about talent levels and stuff. You know, you're not going to obviously disrespect anybody on TV, but there's a lot of talent coming into the program this month, next month. And how much did that factor into your decision in terms of bringing the coaching staff back intact and giving them the opportunity to work with that talent?
Yeah, no, I think, again, I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm talking about who we have in the program and clearly who we're bringing in, Gary. And I hope I'm answering your question, but it did factor in as I look at, you know, my depth for the spring for the first time. You know, we're a lot deeper, and you know, I like the symmetry that we have. And for instance, at tailback, you know, I know we might have some guys named up, but certainly in the fall, you know, we could have 4 or 5 tailbacks that could go in the game. We haven't really had that luxury, you know, since we've been here. Feel the same way at defensive back, you know, and I you know, I can go on, but we do have an experienced group, a mature group coming back, and obviously we're excited about the talent level of the kids that we're bringing in too. So, but all that goes into a factor. And then, like I said, there's certain trends. You know, is your team becoming more mature and more disciplined? You know, our penalties, you know, are way down. Our turnover ratio was static from last year, but still good at +5. So those are all the things that we look at when looking at that decision.
Donovan?
Coach, now that you put all the speculation to bed and so forth, were you able to talk to the players before the statement and let them know, you know, you were hanging around or whatever the case may be?
Well, again, I never went anywhere, so I didn't really talk to the players. I've continued to communicate with all of them, the same thing with the recruits. So so we were working through that, you know, the whole time. So, you know, it just got to the point where on Sunday we had to release a statement so that we can move forward. But you know, had a lot of interaction with the recruits, and we're starting to see some of our players come back. We have some guys running track, and then of course we have some guys coming in on Wednesday.
Susan?
Yeah, Al, Rashawn Scott, Kevin Olson, Ray Lewis Jr. did not travel with the team to the
Correct.
ball game.
Yep.
Could you please elaborate on their situation?
Yeah, all of them were suspended for the bowl game, kind of detrimental. And again, I think, you know, as the kids get older, like Rashawn, I think that's a different situation than obviously Ray and Kevin. And I think Rashawn, you know, as he gets into his senior year now, he's got to be a guy that speaks for himself. You know, as I said that about Chantrell this year. I mean, it gets to the point where, you know, they have to be accountable to their teammates and to their family and to themselves. And it's not going to do me any good to say anything. In terms of Ray and Kevin, you know, we really like both of those young men. You know, and they, you know, it was a violation of team rules, and you know, both of them, you know, have moved forward and are excited to come back, and we're excited to work with them. But it's as simple as that.
Paul?
You're talking about the NCAA play file being removed. Did you detect any noticeable difference in the reception you were getting before that announcement and then after?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that we had a couple of guys commit just after. Now we didn't have a lot of spots available, but we had a couple of guys commit just after the announcement. But I think more than anything, it's been the reaction of the student athletes, the families, the high school coaches, the high school coaching community. As we go and visit them, it's never felt like this. For me at the University of Miami, it's never felt like this. Almost to the point where you're leaving some homes and you're asking the guys that you're with, the coaches that you're with, hey, did we forget something? You know, because that has been, you know, that has been, you know, the preeminent focal point of every conversation for 3 years, 3 recruiting cycles. That was it. And that was the elephant in the room. And now that's not it. Now it's about the university. It's about, you know, our philosophy, our personnel, the academic institution itself. It's about our community, our facilities, our campus, all of the things that it should be about. And for us, we feel good about that because we feel like that's level footing finally.
Manny?
Coach, if any players left the team, or is the same roster from the end of the season?
Yeah, no, I think we have the same roster right now, Manny. I don't foresee anybody leaving, but you know, if anything comes, we'll release that as we start the semester. But no, we have 8 young men that plan on being here, whether they'll be here Wednesday for orientation or not. But Yerby, Powell, Darlin, McDermott, Hurtalu, Harris, Juwan Young, and Braxton Berger. So we have 8 people that we're expecting here at mid-year. That number could increase, obviously, and that's awesome that those guys are going to be able to join us at mid-year. And if there's any other changes, we'll make sure we communicate.
And that list and those bios are in the season recap package you guys should have picked up. Matt Porter, next question.
Just curious about Duke, an update on his
Yeah.
condition, where he's at.
Duke, first of all, you know, Duke went through some heartache there, and it was very difficult to him. I don't know if he's ever had that scenario in his career. So it was difficult, and he needed the help of everybody here. You know, trainers, peers, coaches, everybody, and including all the support of his network at home. I don't think there's any question that he needed all that. But the one thing I will tell you about Duke is he coached the heck out of the running backs at the bowl game, and it was good to see that part of him back. You know, so that I think that's a huge step for him, a big step for him, just to get his personality back. And as I told him, you know, for all the aspirations that he has and the greatness that he chases, it's not going to be the last time that he's injured. And really to learn from this and grow from this, and I think he has. And I'm real proud of the way he coached in, you know, on the bowl week. But I think he's getting treatment this week, and he'll continue to lift and move forward, and we'll go from there.
You think he's on track for spring ball, or are we looking at?
I don't know. I couldn't answer that. To be honest with you, I could not. I would be premature to say that, but we'll see. We'll see where he's at.
Coach, I know you're heavily process driven, but is there a measure of success you go by at the end of each season, whether it's a bowl game, a BCS bowl, a number of wins? Is there something like that you measure yourself?
Well, I mean, obviously you want to continue to have progress. You know, and when I talk about a positive trend, that's what I'm talking about. You know, Tim mentioned, you know, August 11th. So where we were from there, you know, to win 9 this year, and really through that you know, tumultuous time, that difficult period, just to keep fighting and everything. And now we feel like we can leave that behind now and move forward. So from that standpoint, I look at those things. A lot of the things I've already talked about. I mean, you get the pulse of your team, whether it's penalties, turnover rate. Are you an undisciplined team? Are you a sloppy team? Do you turn the ball over a lot? Do you get a lot of penalties? Do you beat yourself? You know, those are all the things that I look at. And what about personnel? Who's coming back? You know, what's the depth like? You know, what's the best way to utilize a certain person? So all of those things are factors. But again, we're making progress, and we're excited that we're making progress, and now we just got to keep going.
Coach, thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Gary, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Gary.
We're still not done yet, but thank you.
No, I'm sorry. No,
Gary just excused me, so.
Not done just yet.
Then I'd run like out. It's impossible to put, it's probably impossible for you to quantify, given what was real or what wasn't these last 3-4 days. You know, there was a report that one commit, which I know you can't talk about, reopened or decommitted. Are you concerned that all this speculation, whether it was how accurate or not, whatever, that it hurt what you guys are trying to do going forward?
No, I think, again, our staff did a great job communicating, and I've been in touch with just about everybody. So we've continued to communicate throughout, and again, I can't talk about specific recruits, but, you know, we're going to keep recruiting right to the end, and, you know, you know, we're not home yet. You know, we have a lot of work to do from the recruiting standpoint, and there's going to be some of those for the positive and the negative.
Did someone in the middle have a question?
Yes, it was about Duke Johnson and his condition, but it was already answered.
Susan?
Yeah, Al, now that you've had some time to watch the film on bowl game, on the bowl game, you probably put it a little bit more in perspective. They just seem so out of sorts. You know, they just didn't play well.
Yeah.
Can you point your finger on anything?
Well, we didn't execute well on offense, and we didn't convert on third down, and that started to compound the issues. I thought we stopped the run well early in the game. We came up with some good defensive stops, which kept us in the game despite the inadequacies that we exhibited on offense. But it just became too much, and the quarterback was too good. You know, he was just too good. He had a special night, and he executed at a high level. We didn't get to him enough, you know, and at the end of the day, you know, then they started to play with a lead, and you know, we have a chance. There's Susan. You know, we have a chance to go 16-9. You know, and first and goal, and we fumble the ball, and so at that moment, now it goes the other way. It goes 22 or 23. You know, or 20, whatever the case may have been. I can't even remember at this point. But that was a big swing there. If we would have been able to get that one in, then we can, we can continue to run our game plan and not, have to press a little bit too much on defense. So, again, as I said after the game, they executed better than us in all three phases. They coached better than us, and we have to learn from it and move forward. We had 8 guys that played in a, we had 8 guys that played in a bowl game. We had 8 guys. So I think the number, we had 86, 86 guys on our roster that never been to a bowl game. So again, it's we all know where we want to be and what the expectations are, but in terms of where we are right now, we have to create positive experiences from that game in terms of making sure they understand how to handle that and how to grow from that and how to learn how to stay focused and execute. But there's a lot of things that I wish we could have done better, but we're going to take the positive from that in the season and just move forward.
Alan, I just have one follow to that that's to do with something else. Have all of your eligible underclassmen eligible for the draft told you at least what they're planning to do and if they're coming back?
They have not yet. And again, I think we provide a great process here. I really do, and we've really grown in that area. Not just the evaluation, but the affording them the opportunity to have data on the draft, to talk to NFLPA people, to meet with agents here at the Short Center. All of those things allow them to go through a process and make a real business decision. And other than that, Susan, I don't get involved really. It's important for me to provide them that process and then allow them to make that decision. And certainly some of them will have a question or want my opinion, but it's really important that they go through that process with their family. So when that is all decided, now some of you have already released or commented on some guys that may have said something to you or whatever, but when it's final from our standpoint, we will release that or give them the opportunity to tell you that in the press conference.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions for Coach Golden? 2 more, Barry and then Tim.
Al, a couple things. Where's your linebacker play now in your mind compared to where you think it needs to be? And also from a defensive standpoint, you prioritize adding size a lot during the offseason. Is speed now something which you want to add? What's the priority?
Yeah, well, no, it's going to be both, Barry, and I want to make sure I'm careful how I discuss this because some of the guys will be here at mid-year, like Young and Harris will be here at mid-year. So obviously that will help us. McCord, Muhammad, Grace, Tucker has done both, fullback and linebacker. Perryman, Kirby, Blue, Armbrister, Fig, so we're getting longer. I can't talk about all the recruits, that's why I'm just referencing this, just to make sure I don't say somebody that's not, we don't have a financial aid agreement. But we've gotten longer at linebacker in our recruiting. We've gotten longer. I could talk about Young, and I could talk about Harris, but both those kids are over 6'2", 6'3", and have range and length. And so I think that we're getting stronger, we're getting better at that position, and I don't think we're giving up the speed. And Denzel's a great representation of that because he got a lot bigger last year, but really didn't give up speed at all, and didn't give up anything from a conditioning standpoint, which was great.
Last question, Tim.
Actually, 2 parts out of that. One, do you have any idea the status of the hopes of constructing a better practice facility for you guys, that project? Do you know how that's going?
I don't, Tim. Really, that's a question for Blake, James, the AD. I would just be, I really don't know the ins and outs of that.
And I won't get a chance to kick you off with a question for a little while now. I don't mean to. I'm done with levity.
I hear what he
Do
said.
you root for the conference tonight?
Where'd Gary go? I need Gary back.